Hey everybody, welcome to episode 27 of the Yinzhers podcast. I'm Jordan DeFigio here with my co-hosts Samantha James and Morgan Urtso. This is round 2 of trying to accomplish this podcast. We attempted it last night, and unlike the Steelers, we're not able to avoid failure. It was everything, all the cards were stacked against us. But now we're here, we're doing this, we're ready to roll. And that was one ugly ass win that we chose to watch. We did choose to watch it over the Bears last night, Monday Night Football. So my first question for the table is, will the Steelers ever play a complete game of football from start to finish, looking like a competent team ever again?
Slim to none chances. I'm going to just be honest with how I'm feeling right now. Yeah. Like that, we haven't seen a complete football game out of this team for, I would say, a couple years now. I mean, there were a few glimpses of it last season, but it always seems like it's like the tale of two halves. Like we have one really solid half. We don't know if it's going to be the first half or the second half. And then we have, the inevitable collapse of the offense or defense or both that just ruins everything. It's like, I don't understand what's going on, but knowing this team, if we do ever put together a complete football game again, it'll be against like the Bucks, like a team that's really, really good. So
yeah, honestly, playing the Lions on Sunday scares the shit out of me because I know that since the Lions haven't won any games, that the Steelers have a higher chance of losing than they normally would, which drives me insane. And we saw the offensive line take a step backwards this week compared to the trending upwards that we had seen in the previous weeks. That makes me nervous as hell.
Yeah, that was so bad. And they started off doing pretty well. Yeah. And I'll take the blame for that because I actually tangibly thought, this line looks good. And then from there, it turned into shit. So whatever. It was really bad. It was very bad. Super stressful. I think we were all anticipating that, though, because the Steelers do play very poorly against bad teams. But some things that we can talk about maybe that we liked. Big Ben surpassed Tom Brady with 50 game-winning drives. So that puts him at 4th all time. That's impressive. And he did look good at the end of the game. He kicked into manager mode and he was making smart decisions. He was playing well. So there's that. It's unfortunate.
It was really nice. Yeah, no, exactly. It was unfortunate, especially after going up 14-0, 14-0, nada in that first majority of the first half. So it's frustrating that Ben's got to come out and still be Ben in those situations. But again, you have to look at it as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan as like, thank God Ben can still be Ben. And all of these knocks on him this year, like he can't throw up the middle, he can't throw deep, he holds onto the ball too long with this offensive line, he gets the ball out too quick. I mean, people are going to have their opinions about Ben, but the things that we've seen out of him in the past 5 games is no interceptions, game-winning drives, composure in the pocket, even when it's collapsing, extending some plays, trying to rush for first downs. I mean, Ben is literally putting this team on his shoulders, and it might not be pretty, and it might not be the Ben of 2017, but he's still getting the job done. He is one of the only reasons we won that game last night. One of the only reasons. That final drive was all Big Ben.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. Sam, what did you like from last night?
Oh gosh.
That was a hard question.
I mean, I still love our offensive skill set, like, our wide receiver corps, James Washington, obviously Pat Freiermuth. Oh my God, I love having an actual tight end one again, somebody that is reliable, that also helps block for our other offensive players as they're running. Like, that's huge. Najee Harris, like, I am so happy with the first and second round draft picks. Like, could not ask for more out of those 2 players.
It's so funny because, like, thinking back on the draft when the Steelers, I mean, it was kind of obvious that they were going to go Najee in the first round, but when they went Pat in the second, a lot of people were pissed because they wanted a Creed Humphrey. They wanted an offensive lineman. Do I think Creed Humphrey would have been a bad pick? Absolutely not. The guy is doing well in this league right now, but Pat Freiermuth brings something that we haven't had since Heath Miller. Ironically, Heath Miller was at the game last night. They were chopping it up before kickoff, and that was like a beautiful sight to see. Pat brings, like Sam said, a level of physicality to that tight end position that we have been lacking, as well as some real reliable hands and size in the end zone, in the red zone. Couldn't be happier that we have Pat Freiermuth on this team.
Yeah.
Yeah. He looked excellent. Najee looked really good. He obviously, with the collapse of the offensive line there, he wasn't working with anything all that spectacular later on in the game, but he still did really, really, really well. It's just the fact that he is able to see a play through from start to finish. And it's like he never gives up. He's so strong and so forceful.
Yeah.
It takes 5 guys to try to get him to the ground, and still he's not going down. It's actually amazing. There was a play in the second half of that game where you just knew, based on how the offensive line just refused to hold up, the lack of integrity on that line. And you just knew it was going to get blown up for a 2-yard loss. And Najee somehow turned it into a first down. I mean, that kid is insane. And I mean, while we're talking about him, let's just talk real quickly about that stuff. His interview yesterday with NFL and NFL Network. I mean, the kid is phenomenal, like all the way around, no matter how you slice it. We are so lucky to have a guy like that, not only on this team, but in the community. It's amazing. He amazes me every single day, truly, with stuff that he does off the field and on the field.
It is awesome. He's such a good dude. Such a good dude.
He's a player like Cam Hayward that you look at and you're like, that is a leader. That is a leader. That is somebody that you want on your team. And he's a rookie, and you already see that skill set in him.
It's amazing. Yeah. And so there were some positives on the defense as well. Obviously, everybody just kind of shut down in the second half, but that front seven, sheesh. TJ had himself a night. How many sacks? 3?
3 sacks.
Cam had an interception.
7 tackles. 3 tackles for loss for TJ Watt. You're right, Jordan. Keep going. Cam.
Yeah. The interception. Alex Highsmith was disruptive. Like, you just they were the story on defense. That front seven. They looked absolutely fantastic. Except for I don't even know how to word it in a different way. The shit show that was the second half. But yeah, let's talk about the good first. Yeah. What were some of the real, besides the sacks and the interception, obviously, like, let's get into a little bit more depth of like the positives from that front seven. What did we see that we liked?
Sure. Jordan, you mentioned the Cam Hayward interception. And also later in the game, I believe it was in the second half, Cam absolutely saved a touchdown by rushing 15 yards up the field to make a tackle that should have been made by an inside linebacker, should have been made by Devin Bush. We'll get into that later. But we saw Cam Hayward make what may have been the first mistake that he has made all year last night, and that was that offsides on 4th down for the Bears, giving the Bears that 4th down off that offsides penalty. But very few mistakes out of him ever. And I mean, his second interception of his career, that was beautiful. I'm such a big Cam Hayward fan. You love to see it.
Cam Hayward, I mean, it's crazy to think that you have 2 players on your front seven like that are competing back and forth with Defensive Player of the Year. Like, they are both making such strong cases to be nominated for that. Like, and they're on our team, and it's just amazing.
What the hell? That's awesome.
It's
like the
such
positives,
a good point.
take them when you get them. Like, and that is a huge positive.
Yeah, exactly. We have that trio, TJ, Cam, and Alex Highsmith, who I promise you will be a force in this league for years to come. We saw him absolutely blow up against the run last night. He made some incredible plays, incredible tackles. TJ reached 60 career sacks in just 69 games. It's the fourth fewest games in NFL history to reach that total out of any defensive player. Fourth, what did I say? Fourth fewest games.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just every single week he's putting up a stat like that. Last week it was he passed Joey Porter. This week he's making NFL history again. I mean, he is a force. We saw Minka come up big on some plays, which we've been missing recently. We really had Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden with that pass defensed in the end zone. I mean, there were some really good things that we had been missing from some of these guys for so long. It just wasn't consistent enough.
Yeah.
It's just, that's the issue. It's the consistency.
Yeah.
Right.
That's been bad.
Things people have been complaining about Minka for weeks. Where's Minka? Where's Minka? And I think they said last night he ended with 7 tackles. And it's like, there he is. But we need that every week. We need you to show up every week.
Right.
For the whole game.
Yeah.
And one of those sacks on Justin Fields was because Minka blew up his read in the secondary. He couldn't make the throw because Minka was right there. So his presence in that secondary, in that safety position where he's able to kind of read the plays and go where he pleases, he's been making some smart decisions lately. And I love what I'm seeing out of him the past 2 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That has been excellent. Then it's just... For me, my biggest frustration with him was not following through on tackles, like
wrapping them up.
I didn't even necessarily mind that he wasn't making splash plays because he doesn't need to be in order to be affecting the game.
Right.
But damn, the way that he would just like boop and then be done with the play, like that was what was driving me nuts. And last night he was finally like, oh, maybe I should try to get him to the ground before I stop giving a shit. That was awesome. And I think that we also need to mention who is possibly the MVP of the game, despite the missed extra point, Chris Boswell. Oh my word. That unbelievable 52-yarder, 54-yarder, just recovering a fumble. What the heck?
After he was concussed last week.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like when he missed Go, Sam. Sorry,
out of all the players to recover a fumble, it's Chris Boswell, who got his shit rocked last week, who left the game because he tried to play quarterback in what we called a horrible coaching decision. This week, I would not expect him to even attempt to recover a football fumble because of that same thing. And honestly, I agree. Yeah, save the game. Chris Boswell, give him MVP.
Cam Hayward said after the game that Chris Boswell is like a serial killer in that nothing phases him. He goes out there for every kick and is just like, whatever. Yeah, game's on the line. What? No one cares. Yeah. Whatever. I mean, he is stone cold Steve Austin. Like nothing phases him. And it's so true. Sammy's coming off concussion protocol. And I gave him a pass in the game when he missed that extra point. I was like, you know what? He's coming off concussion protocol. He got rocked last week. It is what it is. I'm not worried about Boz. I'm never worried about Boz. Right. And then just the redemption. It was beautiful.
Amazing. Just amazing. That was so good. And glad that he's okay too. Cause he definitely took a hit whenever he grabbed the loose ball. So that was good to see him kind of get back up. And also, like, Boz of 2 years ago, or 2018, 2019, I can't remember, whichever season he was not himself. Yeah. Missing that extra point would have screwed him for the rest of the game because he was so in his head that year that it would have impacted the outcome because it would have impacted him and his ability to believe that he could knock those 2 really lengthy field goals, but he did it. And it was just so like, totally nothing. And so we talked about like the tale of the first half versus the second half. And the first half was full of moments that were like, what is going on? Including those fourth down conversions that we not only went for, but got
executed. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Like, and that was where I thought maybe they are going to blow this team out. Like they came to play tonight, and that was encouraging, even though it kind of all went away in the second half. But still, the fact that they were gutsy enough to go for it on 4th and short, that was exciting to watch.
I mean, the energy at Heinz Field last night was palpable, like through my television. I don't know if it was the color rush. I don't know what it was, but like the fans in that first half were killing it. And the team was benefiting because they're feeding off that energy from the fans. I mean, it absolutely makes a difference. If there's anything we learned from 2020, it's that fans in the stands makes a difference. And that energy was tangible. It was absolutely insane. So the confidence to go for it on those 4th and shorts, something we've been roasting Mike Tomlin for this entire season, his inability to make a ballsy call to go for it on 4th and short. Right. The fact that he did it successfully twice in one game speaks volumes. It was something that we haven't seen from him all year. It was exciting. And unlike that call last week to go for it, to fake the field goal and have Boz, just absolutely get murdered. It was great to see some success out of it, out of a ballsy call.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I think that empowered them too to feel like, all right, let's take charge of this game.
Oh yeah, you felt the momentum.
Yeah, it was just pulsing the whole first half. But unfortunately, the first half came to a very, very startling end. Why do they do
that? Guys,
why do they do that?
I know we already talked about it, but like, why do they do that? Is it they get complacent? Is it that, they're all taking Sudafed in the locker room at halftime? Like, I don't know if someone's lacing the Gatorade with NyQuil. What is going on? What is going on? We got these guys out there on lean. I am confused. I'm confused. Yeah. I don't know what's happening because it's two totally different teams, and I won't harp on it anymore. I know we already talked about it, but like, make it make sense. Make it make sense.
Right.
Just find a way to at least, like, you don't have to jump. I know that going from 2 quarters of football to 4 quarters of football is a lot to ask. Maybe do like 2.5 quarters or 3. Like, don't completely collapse for
on one half.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't get it. So let's expound a little bit on what we hated. There was a lot of it. Just a lot to hate. First of all, I was a huge Presley Harvin fan in the preseason. I thought he was the second coming, and God, he has fallen from grace in a mighty way. His short punts to kind of lock teams in like back in their own territory is okay, but God almighty, he shanks so many punts. What happened to him? He looked so good. Is it nerves? Is he just terrible? I don't know.
It's just the inconsistency. Like, I am hesitant to knock him for the lack of consistency yet. I'm just a little hesitant because we saw him correct. We saw him last night make 2 terrible punts, come in, make adjustments, and then correct for that amazing punt that we ended up landing at like the 6 or something like that. Right. I don't remember the exact yard line, but it bounced to the 6. I mean, we've seen him do great, and we've seen him do just marginal at best. And it's amazing the difference, the spectrum on which this man performs. I am just, he's an anomaly to me, but I'm chalking it up to the fact that he's a kid, he's a rookie, and I think he'll get it together. I mean, look at him. The physicality of this kid alone is it's amazing. So I don't doubt that he can figure it out, but I did see on one of the punts, his foot kicked the ground. So he just may have been a little bit off. But in a game like that, where we benefited so much off of really great field position, we needed to be able to pin them back, especially running that zone defense, that soft zone defense in the secondary, especially with Justin Fields making those huge passes to wide open receivers. We just needed better field position.
Part of me wonders with him too, is like when we signed him, and Jordan Berry was still on the team and they were competing, Jordan Berry improved so much because he then knows he's fighting for his position. And this goes back to players that just get comfortable and know that they're on the team. And it's like, is that what it is too? Are you just so comfortable that you know you're the only punter on the team that you're just like, okay, well, if I biff it, then I biff it. And I don't know. Because, I mean, he's not, you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's frustrating and scary because that was one of the things that we've struggled with punting for years now, and it was something that I felt more hopeful about than I had in seasons past because he looked so good in the preseason. And I was like, oh, thank God, finally we don't have to worry about the punter. Just kidding. Yeah, we do. He is not doing well. Let's keep in the special teams vein. Chances are we wouldn't have been in the position we were in if Ray hadn't freaking fumbled the ball.
We wouldn't have.
What was that? What was?
That's
I keep asking that, but I can't stop. What was that?
The fact of the matter is, we would not have been in the position that we were in had Ray not fumbled. He put us in a position where we had to play much more aggressively than we ever should have had to play in that second half. All we had to do is maintain a lead. All we had to do was maintain a lead. He took that from us. And you know what? It's fine. People make mistakes. Guys fumble. We've seen the best of athletes fumble in terrible situations. The issue with Ray is he keeps trying to do too much. That's what we're seeing. He can. Out of Ray McLeod, Ray McDonald, Ray McGriddle, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
Ray, I think, has a ceiling that is pretty high. I think because when he first came on the scene for us, we were all like, whoa, who is this dude? And I don't know if it's because we were like still feeling the pains of having Ryan Switzer return kicks. Like, I don't know if we were just impressed by him because he wasn't Ryan Switzer, but something happened and he just has been trying to do the most and it just doesn't feel natural. It feels like he's pushing it. Last night, that fumble was because he just pushed it. He run outside. If there's nothing up the middle, don't try to get cute with it. Run across the field, take the perimeter. I don't understand. So, Mike Tomlin came out today and said that Ray is going to remain the returner. And I'm glad that, he made the statement last night that it was unacceptable. I was kind of hoping that there would at least be maybe a competition, maybe try Anthony McFarland returning kicks, someone who's quick, elusive, speedy. We can't risk DJ, but McFarland would be an interesting returner back there. It's frustrating. That's all I'll say.
Right.
It's just frustrating because
he
does too much.
And you know what? Like, backpedaling just a little bit. Don't try to get so cute and adorable and try for this extra nonsense if you're not even going to do the basics while you're executing a play. Like, protect the damn ball. Like, don't do the most when you're allowing yourself to overlook the fundamentals of the game. Again, the fundamentals. Stop forgetting the basics. Like, God, protect the ball, cover the ball.
I know. We harp on fundamentals all the time on this show.
God.
We talk about how it's almost like this team has forgotten about the fundamentals of football, and that's exactly what we saw from Ray last night.
Yep. And that would explain the inconsistency, because they are talented. There's so much talent on this team, but they just keep neglecting the basics, the simple things, the things that aren't super flashy, that don't get them all of the notoriety that they get when they are doing stupid shit like that, fumbling the ball. Yep. Oh,
I lost my mind. That was honestly, to date, one of the most stressful games I've ever watched. Like, I didn't even enjoy the win.
And that's saying a lot, because that is a long list.
Right. And I literally, we won, and I still was just like, that game sucked. Like, that was the ugliest win. Like, I didn't even enjoy it. Like, it was so stressful that nobody even enjoyed it. And I know that, people are going back and forth on that today. Like, oh, well, just enjoy it. It's a win. It's like, I couldn't enjoy that, because I know damn well it's going to happen to us again. And it drives me insane.
Yeah.
And I understand, I really do understand the logic behind the statement, a win is a win. But I really feel like that only applies in the playoffs. Like, don't say that to me until it's a playoff victory, because this team has not had one of those in 5 years. That's great. Like, you do need to win games. That's fine. But whenever you're almost losing games because of the consistent issues that the Steelers have been having, it does not feel encouraging for their chances down the road. I just can't get excited about a win. I can be thankful that they somehow squeaked it out, because, and I said this last night in our throwaway, but the fact that game, we were up 14-0, and it came down to a 65-yard field goal hitting the uprights for them to win, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. And it just highlights and accentuates all of the issues that they have continued to have that they are not actually fixing. And it's driving me crazy.
Right. Yeah, you're exactly right. It makes every single boneheaded decision, boneheaded play call, it exacerbates the feeling of failure. Like you said, we can't even be happy about these wins because they feel like they should have been losses. It's like the only game that I have felt confident after this entire season was that Browns game. Listen, it's so the Steelers to play like that against the Browns and the Bills, and then play like they played against the Bears last night, and how they'll inevitably play against the Lions. Like, come on, man. Like, they defy whatever makes sense in this world. I don't. But there's a reason we look at these games with the anxiety that we look at them with, because we know that inevitably someone's going to do some stupid shit.
It feels like the bare minimum. It feels like they literally do the bare minimum to win a game and just scrape by to the next one. It's like you said, the Browns game did feel like a win, but for the most part, it's like they're just doing what they can to get by. It's like, okay, we blew the first half, so we'll catch up in the second. And in this case, we dominated the first half, so we'll just give up in the second half. It's like, why? Why do you do that?
And I mean, listen, like, I don't want to be that person that's like, we don't beat good teams, or we beat good teams, we lose to bad teams. It's the NFL. It's the NFL. Every team is good by any margin of the imagination. It's the NFL. It is hard to win in the NFL. That's why any given Sunday is a very real thing. That's why the Jags were able to come up and beat the Bills this past weekend. Any given Sunday, any team is capable of beating any other team. But trends don't lie, man. Like, we are losing to sub 500 teams year after year after year, and nothing's changing. I don't know. And I don't know that there's a fix to that. It's a mentality issue. I don't know what the fix is. Anyway.
And maybe if we put our brains together, we can figure something out and like send a letter to the coaching staff. Just like
strongly worded
wrap
letter.
it up real nice. Yeah. And then
put us on the sideline. Put us on the sideline.
Oh my God. Yeah. But it's super confusing. And we saw that same level of inconsistency and just total meltdown on not only the offensive line, but the offensive play calling. It feels like they just hit a wall at some point where their brains get all jumbled and they're like, wait a minute, what am I doing? And it just turns into utter chaos, because that is exactly what it felt like watching both the line disintegrate throughout the course of the evening and Matt Canada's play calling. It was like, what are you doing?
Running Benny Snell on second and 19 at the 20. I'm sorry, sir. Oh, Canada, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Benny Snell on second and 19. Let me repeat that. Benny Snell on second and 19. It doesn't make any sense to me. And then inevitably, we abandon the run when it's been working week after week after week. We run a jet sweep, which has been successful for us. Listen, the jet sweep has been pretty successful for us this year, and I'm liking what I'm seeing out of it. When we need big yardage, we needed 2 yards, and you run a jet sweep to Deontay, who is your least physical receiver. Make sense, sir. I'm
just
unhappy.
Run it up the middle. Run it up. Look at Najee. Look at what he's been doing all night long. He is going to drag people along with him for the ride to get that first down. It is mere inches away. Why would you toss the ball behind you and then you lose yards? You don't even make it back to scrimmage.
You feel like you're in a twilight zone. You're like, what am I watching? What
I feel like I'm constantly being gaslit. Like, am I
the Steelers are gaslighting us.
The Steelers are gaslighting us. A professional football team
are not good for anyone's mental health. They are.
I think we need to go to couples therapy. We need to go to couples therapy with the Steelers because this relationship is not working out. It's pretty one-sided.
It's a trauma bond.
I'm not happy.
It's a trauma bond.
We are. This is what we call Stockholm syndrome.
Yep. We're remembering the good days.
Imprisoned by the people that we love.
Oh my God. And we just think that they'll change. We think that they will go back to the way that it used to be when they won Super Bowls for guys in their last year in the league. We're like, it'll happen again. They'll do it again. And they're like, nope.
Nah, we're good.
Not today, sweetie. Yeah. Oh my God. It's a mess. So there was that. Oh my God. Injuries galore. Just keep on coming. Another groin injury. Isaiah Buggs. Boom. Groin. Injured. Yep. Chase Claypool's getting an MRI on his toe. What the hell? It's just all of Pittsburgh. There's always a dark cloud over at least the Steelers and the Penguins. And it's like, you cannot have healthy bodies. It's just always the same. Oh my God. Is there any update on Chase Claypool?
I have not seen any update.
Okay.
It is 2:37 on Tuesday as we speak, and I have not seen an update on Chase Claypool.
Okay,
what are your thoughts, everyone? Just want to run this one by you. What are your thoughts if Claypool is out, if this is a significant injury? Just hear me out before you just, lose your shit. Odell. How do we feel about Odell? Because he's going to clear waivers. No one wants that contract. No one wants, everything that comes with that contract, especially when he's coming from a team that's stacked as it is already. So he's going to be a free agent. Are we a hard no on Odell? Because of AB?
ABJ, literally. That's what I would call him. ABJ. There's already demanding, I want to play for a team that's a contender or there's going to be issues. No.
Jordan? You're killing me.
I'm on the fence. Yeah, I feel like because my brain is so soupy at the moment, the best way that I can actually convey what my thoughts is my face, and I don't know if it's working, but I think
sometimes words just don't suffice.
They just don't. And after this stupid whatever that was. I need more than just words. But I don't know. I, in the past, have always been a hard pass on players like that, just because of the level of instability that they bring to the locker room. So I think, and this is again where, you know, I'm that tortured girlfriend. I don't know. I feel like the situation in Cleveland is just odd, and Baker Mayfield is odd, and he's just a very okay quarterback at best.
Right.
Yes.
And also has weird personality things. Like, I think that if this had been the Ben of the late 2000s, early 2010s, I would absolutely say no, because it would just be like part 2 of what happened in Cleveland.
Right.
But with a quarterback like Ben, who, regardless of how people feel about him now, he's different than he was. He's grown up, he's matured, and I think that he would actually know how to utilize OBJ. My one thing is contract. I don't like paying him. I'm not sure if that would work for the Steelers cap situation. That's the only thing that I'm really, really kind of against, because but at the same time, they have cap space that they did not use.
They have cap space, and
right. Yeah,
and I will say, OBJ has done very little in the past several years to show us the kind of athlete, kind of receiver that he is still.
Mm-hmm.
We can say that people will pay OBJ for the player that he was, but do we know that for a fact? Do we know that one of these teams is going to pay him the big bucks in a long-term contract? We don't know that.
That's fair.
By any stretch of their imagination, they shouldn't, because it doesn't make much sense.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen him get the ball a ton in the past several years. So that kind of plays in our favor. I think he would love to come to the Steelers because it would stick it to the Browns. It would stick it to Baker Mayfield. Mm-hmm. It was very obvious watching that tape that his dad put out, and OBJ did not. Let's just say, like, he's handled this better than AB handled it. I will say that. Yeah. The tape, we saw Baker miss him a ton. And we know Ben likes to spread the ball out to different receivers. I think that it could potentially be a match made in heaven. And Mike Tomlin knows how to deal with these guys. I'm not saying I want him. I am saying I'm not going to be pissed if it happens.
Can you just imagine cheering for OBJ in a Steelers uniform? Like, the thought of that.
Anyone in a Steelers uniform.
So weird. It just, I'm like, oh, could I do that?
It does seem weird. It does.
Honestly, though, that would probably that would absolutely make the city of Cleveland fall into the ground. Oh. So maybe I am all here for that.
Exactly. Like, maybe we do it just to troll Cleveland. I don't know. I'm not opposed.
I wouldn't hate it. We'll see. I guess we'll see, because he's definitely going to clear waivers. Like you said, he's not, nobody's picking that up. So we'll see. Right. I feel like there are other teams that may be a little bit more willing to take on that risk than the Steelers, like the teams that are more desperate, because I think that's the only thing that would stand in the way. I don't think that if he fell into the Steelers' laps, they would say no. Right. But I also do think that there are probably like a handful of other teams that might jump on that before. But we'll see. I don't know. It's a very interesting hypothetical. We'll see what happens, but with the injuries, that probably honestly wouldn't be the worst thing. But a couple other interesting things from last night, all officiating related, because that was the first time that I can remember that the refs were really, really flag happy in favor of the Steelers, not against the Steelers. And the most notable thing, or at least what's being talked about the most, is the taunting call on Cassius Marsh, which was yes, I'll say again, interesting. First, I'll ask a couple questions. First, because the taunting rule itself is its own thing, but do we think that fell under the umbrella of the new taunting rule? Like, do we think that based on the way that the league's cracking down on it this year should have been called?
I don't think anyone is a fan of the taunting rule. I mean, honestly, none of us can sit here and be like, oh yeah, we think players deserve 15-yard penalties for taunting. On the other half of that, you now know that rule is in place. So don't be a freaking idiot.
Exactly.
There was no reason for you to walk towards the Steelers sideline, and you were definitely yelling something. You were, exaggerating, whatever. That's an easy flag for them, especially when they had already been so flag happy. You're
exactly right, Sam. And I said this on Twitter earlier. We can disagree with the taunting rule. I think all three of us pretty heavily disagree with the fact that the taunting rule exists. But it does. It does. Players know how flag happy the refs have been with that taunting rule because they have been told to enforce it. They know. So Cassius Marsh knew when he walked towards the Steelers bench, made the definitive decision to walk in that direction 8, 9, 10 steps in that direction, as opposed to walking to his own sideline where he was supposed to go, knew he was testing the rule. The rule is stupid. Yes, he was too. Right there, knowing the rule exists, you're stupid if you test it. Period.
If one of our players had done that, we'd say the same thing. We hate the rule, but you were an idiot.
But you can't do that. There's a reason his own coach was yelling at him when he got back to his own sideline. There's a reason. The coach knew exactly what he did wrong. Marsh, in his post-game interview, was like, yeah, I'm pissed. The ref hip checked me. Bro, that's not why he threw the flag. He didn't throw the flag for making contact with him.
Right.
Do I
he would have
agree
been
with the
ejected
taunting
for
rule?
that.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. We don't agree with the taunting rule, but the fact of the matter is, you know, the rule exists. You know, PI exists, but people are still committing it because they know that's the only way they can prevent a catch. And maybe luckily it won't be called. And that's exactly what he was doing, hoping that it wouldn't be called, but he knew it exists.
Right.
So, you know, that's not the worst call they made last night. I will say that.
No, it was not. There
were plenty.
Curious, but yeah, it's really not like that type of, or that level of celebration was warranted for what he did. I missed completely his little kick flip and dance before he walked over to the Steelers sideline and did whatever he did. So that, coupled with everything that he did after the fact and then walked back to the
we also
Chicago
don't know what
bench,
was said.
No, I just think, you got to know the rules of the game that you're playing. And I don't understand the taunting rule. Like, I think it's dumb. Like Sam said, we all do. It's stupid, but it's there. And if you're going to break it, then they're going to call you for it. And, oh, well, sorry. I don't know. It just, it is what it is. We all know that officiating sucks ass. So there's no surprise there. That's why you really have to toe the line. And
the only surprise was that it played in our favor. That's the only surprise.
Yes, that was shocking.
Any of us
that was rather
night.
Shocking.
Right.
But I won't complain about it because of all of the times that it has worked against the Steelers, because it has been quite a bit. But anyway, let's be done with that game, because I need my heart rate to come down to a healthy, normal level again. But Morgan, can you tell us a little bit about a really cool DM that you received this week from somebody on Twitter?
Yeah, absolutely. So last week was rough for a lot of people on Twitter in our world. So we had an amazing follower reach out with an amazing idea. He wants to gift a jersey to a child, a jersey player of his choice from the Steelers, to a child who may not be able to afford one, or whose family may not be able to afford one. So he is going to make the purchase, but our job, this is where we come into play, and all of you listening or watching, nominate somebody. Make a nomination for a family or a child who's a Steelers fan who would, really get a ton of joy, especially this holiday season, receiving a jersey of their favorite player. So next week, we will decide who is the lucky recipient of this jersey. But I want you guys to make nominations on Twitter. Tag us at Yinzhers, Yinzhers, with your nomination, and tell us a little bit about the kid that you're nominating. And then we'll let you know who wins it next week. And thank you so much to this amazing follower for this awesome idea. We are so stoked to make this happen.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Honestly, so excited to be a part of this.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you for including us. It's really, it's just, this is what we love. Like, and this is great. And we're so excited to see all of the people who come forward and just hear stories from people, and hopefully get to interact with a lot of really awesome folks out there. But anyway, terrible tailgate in LA. Morgan and Sam are going to be there. I will not, sadly, but that's exciting for you.
We are so excited.
Talk about it.
I got some official notifications, some official information that we want to share with you directly from Stiller Gang today. So it's the LA game on November 21st, located in the pink lot, oversized section P. We had to get a permit for this tailgate, you guys. A permit. Think about that for a second. Let that sink in. You want to be there. You don't want to miss it if you're going to be in LA. You can get tickets at Eventbrite. We will put the link pinned at the top of our Twitter page so you guys can quickly find it and grab tickets. Pre-sale will be a little less pricey than day of tickets, but you can still get day of tickets if you just want to show up and kick it with us. Food, drinks, special guests. Bucket hats. We will have our Yinzhers bucket hats. Those were in high demand last time. Mike Mitchell, Rob Golden, and Arthur Motes will all be in attendance. Some special guests may make an appearance as well. Like Jordan said, Sam and I will be there. So please come kick it with us. We are so excited. We've been looking forward to this. Sam will be there with her cast intact.
Yes, I will have a cast. So you guys really need to show up and support, because I cannot even believe I'm about to go to a tailgate that size in a cast.
Everyone needs to come and sign Sam's cast.
Yes. Oh my God. I love this.
Only me.
That's awesome. I wish I could be there, but if you can be there, please go. It's going to be awesome. Yeah. Let's wrap this thing up though, because we said a lot, we covered a lot, and it's time for us to go cry in a corner. It's been real. Very real, probably a little too real, as always. Thank you to Steeler Nation for joining us once again.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Yinzhers and on Instagram at Yinzhers Official.
And don't forget to subscribe so you can kick it with us every single week. We'll see you next week for another episode of Yinzhers.